Yeah, get whatever you need.
Hey everybody, we're still getting set up, but we'll start in a few minutes. Hey, check 1, 2. We are. How's that sound? I got a little feedback.
Do you want to
Test that mic real quick.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
Do you want to turn this off and set when we're?
It is off.
Okay.
I got the control right here. Hey everybody, you're watching us set up. Hey, can you go to YouTube and see how it looks for us? Because it's streaming live right now. And if anybody, well, you can go there too on your phone. And if anybody writes anything in the chat, that's going to be your job. Yeah.
Hello.
We are here in Charlottesville. You don't see it?
I don't see it running live right now.
You don't?
Ruh-roh.
Go to.
Yeah, we're live.
You gotta go there.
Oh, well, he's even like usually nice.
There it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but read that. Okay, it is working? Paul, it's you and I.
Hi, Larry.
I don't know where Jeff is. He's fraternizing.
You want me to go again?
Okay.
Nah, it's cool. Come up. Come on up, Wheels.
Yeah, come. Why don't you start with this?
Hey, everybody. Hey, can you turn the radio off? Thank you. What's up? We have a huge audience here. We're at the Lightwell. There he is. That's our audience. At the Lightwell Survey Winery down here in Waynesboro.
Unfortunately, it's not pouring out. Otherwise, we'd have.
I know, if it was
a
raining
lot of
outside,
people in here.
like, it's kind of hot in the wineries. Everybody's congregated outside. Hopefully they're going to come in once they hear us talking. Maybe we'll repel them. Maybe our voices will do the opposite. Here comes Mr. Ehrman and Mr. Jay Zutant. I think we need Jeff here because Suter's going to come down there.
Yeah, he's on the way.
Suter just texted he is on the way. Yeah.
Is that yours?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There it is.
This one's again. My hand.
That's not mine. I got a water. What's up, everybody? What's up, Turks? Let's go.
Are you gonna play the intro, or are we just gonna like?
I didn't bring anything. I told you.
Okay, we're just gonna totally wing it.
I told you I didn't bring anything. Yeah, we're just starting.
All right.
We're
Right.
just starting.
Go.
All right. Are they going to win tomorrow? That's the first question.
Yes.
Without question?
Yes.
Easily. There are two UVA people out there. No, are they gone?
They're still there.
I thought they were. I wonder what they think. They probably think like they're underdogs, but they're going to pull it out. Calandria is going to do some crazy shit, right?
Larry, the lesson is we need to raise our children better. They're not UVA fans.
Obviously.
Mine isn't. So, what about yours?
My students?
Your children. And we know you got many of them out there.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know that he has them.
No wonder he doesn't know.
So we're down here in Waynesboro, like 30 minutes, 25 minutes west of Charlottesville. We pulled up today. We all got an Airbnb. We got the IMS Airbnb. Huge party tonight. Hookers and blow. It's going to be crazy.
To be fair, I mean, we are literally right in the middle of the corner. Like, it's a pretty
We
good
are.
spot.
We're right in the middle of everything.
Oh, it's live.
Is this live?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're live.
we're just winging it.
Is that okay?
You get no
CBS
intro.
can get mad at me for saying that?
You get no intro, you get nothing. You just get us.
Yeah.
Just Bob Euchre. Nobody's watching
Yeah.
the winery.
This and then the winery, it's kind of out of the way, but it's very cool. It's got this like rustic, like industrial feel to it, and they got great wines, and everybody's partaking in the wines. And there's also what's the brewery? Basic City
Basic
Brewery.
City.
It's here. We got food. Who catered the food? I forget who did that. Oh, Jay's back there. Who catered the food, Jay?
Rachel Harris.
Oh, it was
Shout out Rachel Harris.
Nice, Rachel Harris.
Old Bay Popcorn and
Yeah. We have Mr. Steve Suter joining us. I got the text that he's on the way. If he gets lost, we have some problems because my phone is the one that's streaming right now. It's up there on the
We might need somebody on
So
the
if
car
he-
to flag down the series driver.
If he texts us, then, I don't know what's going to happen.
If you need like a volunteer for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Somebody else got Steve Suter? You have Steve Suter coming? No? All right, well, if he gets lost, we may be winging it. We may be winging it.
we'll just do our best Steve Suter impression.
Yes. So,
I
part
can
of...
impersonate him. This one time I returned a punt, like in a bowl game.
Yeah. Tell us about the punt return against West
It
Virginia.
was amazing. I ran, I caught it, I ran. That was it.
Big fan of the
Touchdown.
Big fan of the 1 yard bubble back then.
On Wednesday, you said you didn't do any celebrity impressions, and now you're doing Suter.
Not voice.
Uncanny.
Yeah.
Uncanny Suter.
Uncanny, yeah. We'll see who's better at Suter later. Wheels or Suter himself.
No, we should have him race.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
we got it. I will race him.
His knees were shot.
I will race him, but he's got to give me some level of head start.
The Larry versus Suter race.
Yeah.
You said his knees are shot?
So are mine.
I might have a chance.
I'm an old, fat
No,
guy.
you don't have. His knees are shot for a guy who used to
How
run
much?
a 4.3. Your
Right.
knees are just shot for.
It's a very different level of shot.
On a 100-yard dash, how much head start would I need in order to beat him?
78.
78?
That'd be my guess. Yeah.
You don't think even like 50 yards? Like
What do you
half?
think your 40 time is right now?
Oh, it's like 4.3 something like that.
7.2.
4.3 something. No, I don't know. I don't know. But I will race him. I will do it.
That's a must. We have to make that happen.
We'll
I
do
ran
it.
a 4.6 in high school.
You did?
I did.
That's not bad.
No, I was skinny and fast, and then this happened.
Yeah, this happened to me too. I stopped playing team sports like, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, and I haven't been back. I played soccer up until like mid-40s, and then I was like...
You were a good ball player. We played softball.
Yeah, I was
Quite
okay.
good. Yeah.
I was all right. We had a good time. So we're down here at the winery. We're having fun here tonight. We're going to have fun at the tailgate tomorrow. And then after that, we're all going to the game. And what are you guys expecting at the game? Jeff, Paul, it's kind of like we were saying it on the drive down. It is a must-win game. If
Yeah.
they lose this,
It's got a little bit of a like, the season's over if you lose almost. That's definitely hyperbole, but not that much. Because the thing is, like, if you're Maryland and you just, with any team, if the games that you have chalked up as wins on the schedule, you lose them, then to have the kind of season you want to have to counterbalance that by beating somebody you didn't expect to beat. And Maryland just has not shown the ability to beat those teams at all in recent years. So it makes it doubly painful whenever you lose one that you're supposed to win. So you can't lose 2 that you're supposed to win out of the first 3, or you're in really big trouble.
really big, or they got to beat USC and Iowa and stuff like that. So
Right, and we talked a little bit about this on Wednesday. When you start looking at the Maryland schedule every season, you pick off those like 6 or 7. You feel like, okay, these are games that we should have. You know, you're probably going to lose maybe one of them just because that's what college football is like. The issue is, like Jeff said, Maryland can't win the big game. They can't win the game against the team they shouldn't beat to offset a game where they lose against a team they shouldn't, right? So a loss against Michigan State is never going to be like a devastating loss. It's just a beatable team, and certainly when you're 95% chance of winning in that game with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, it doesn't matter who you're playing, that's a game you should win. So it makes the game tomorrow almost must win if you have like anything more than like a scrape to 6 ambition about this season. And it also kind of just sets up this situation where like, you know, you don't want to have to go into Villanova and think, okay, yeah, we beat Villanova, now we're 2-2, but you don't see a lot more automatic wins on the schedule. You see some teams you know you can beat.
That's the only automatic win left.
Right. You see, you know those. You can beat Indiana on the road. You can beat USC at home in a noon start coming across the country. Like, it's not a game you're going to be favored in, but it can happen.
It's not a gimme. They're not gimmies though.
There are no gimmies. There are no gimmies left.
But maybe this is the year where they lose some of those and they win. They finally do it. Maybe this is it.
Wouldn't that be weirdly refreshing?
It would be great.
If they maybe
this could be it.
If they still like maybe go 7-5, but instead they lose a couple games that maybe they shouldn't have, but win a couple games they shouldn't have either. Like I feel like every Maryland fan will be like, holy shit, this is great. Like yeah, we lost to Michigan State, but we beat USC. I'll take that trade, right?
Yeah, for Loxley's sake, it needs to happen this year. I mean, he's poured so much into this. He's improved it gradually, but they just don't have those wins that give you the sizzle that get the the casual fans back on board, or even some of the hardcore fans, honestly, back on board. The complaint that you hear constantly is, oh yeah, they beat UConn and these other teams. Every time it's a big game, we lose. So maybe this is the year. I don't know. Based on what we've seen so far, there's definitely some big question marks. And it'll be interesting tomorrow to see if they can kind of answer those.
Well, and part of what we do as, the Maryland diehards, right? You think, okay, well, look, we know we're Maryland, okay? Nobody has any delusions of grandeur about where this program is right now. But you feel like every year we're the kings of September. Like, we can win, we beat the teams we're supposed to in September. And then when you have a year where you don't, what do you do then? That's kind of been the whole thing of the Loxley era.
Then you have a disaster,
right?
Most likely. But I think the good news for them is that, long term, they still have this, their best recruiting class in, a decade or whatever it might be, committed. And I think most of these kids are in on the vision of building something, so I don't think they'll be swayed and decommitting just if things don't go as expected.
That's what I was just going to ask.
Well, what does that look like, right? Like, if things go real bad, then what happens?
Looks like an empty stadium.
And do you start having flips and?
Yeah, I mean, you could have.
It doesn't feel like this is that type of class.
Yeah, these kids are more talking about the future and doing something new at Maryland, so I don't think they're quite as influenced by current results, but it's recruiting, obviously, you never know.
Yeah, but as soon as like Jalen Gilchrist commits or what have you, someone at that level, and then every other fan base is like, oh, he won't last, he'll flip. They say that, and so then you need to have at least somewhat of a season so that you can prevent it.
I mean, it's not like the season's lost. I think this could still very well be a solid bowl team, but like I said, there's inordinate value on this game tomorrow.
Yeah.
Jeff, in a lot of ways, this season was always going to be a bridge season, right? Like, Leah graduates, you're waiting for Washington commits, you're hoping that in a couple of years he becomes that next great quarterback.
Yeah.
This was always going to be the bridge. So if you can get to a bowl, that is an accomplishment in a bridge season.
It really is when you lost to Leah and you don't have they have a lot of depth, they have a lot of good players, but they don't have star power, not proven star power at all. The problem is it's slowly been building up over the past few years. So this is the year where you'd like to have that breakout to kind of, punctuate the rise that they've had. And Locks has talked a lot about how good this team is and we can win and compete for championships and stuff. Otherwise, the bridge season would be totally understandable, but they're at a phase in the growth process where you can't afford to have
Jeff,
a rebuilding year.
So that's a great point, and something you brought up. We had expectations for the team. I think all of us did. But we weren't the ones artificially setting those expectations. That's something that during the off-season, the preseason press conference, the media day, going to Big Ten media days, that was something that Coach Loxley talked about, that they're now ready. It doesn't matter if you lose to Leah. We can compete. And he set those expectations.
He put him up on the table on that one. He beat him. But the thing is, he almost had to because he's so desperately trying to get people back on board, trying to get people to come to games and things like that, that he almost has to. And I think he believes it because he knows he has changed the culture and the depth is much better. You know, there's more spread out talent on the team. But, you know, I think he's just so desperately trying to get fans involved. And I don't think, not to say that he's, you know, BSing. I think he does believe that this team's really good. But
Well, and I think when it comes to the bridge season, if people didn't look at the schedule and think, wow, this might be the easiest schedule Maryland's had in, 5-7 years in the Big Ten, the expectations might not be so high either. But because you look at the schedule and you're like, okay, well, these are all, there's probably 10 games that are relatively winnable games, when in a typical Big Ten season, you might be looking at 8, right? So I feel like people looking at that at the schedule are also just like, well, maybe this is the year you got to do something.
yeah, this is the first year I can recall in at least probably 5 years where they didn't have one of the top 5 toughest schedules in the country. So that'll help them even.
It started out that way, but it may not be ending up that way because you don't have Ohio State, Michigan. But USC looks damn good. And USC and Oregon instead of Ohio State, Michigan is not that different.
It's not that different, but it's definitely, like, those are more finesse, beatable, I think, teams than like an Ohio State. For Maryland,
I feel like
for Maryland, at least.
better matchups.
Yeah, it's still going to be a hefty underdog usually, but, you're probably not going to get manhandled in the trenches as much as you have over the years. But, the thing is, desperately needs this to be a solid season to get the fans back on board as, like Tony said, a bridge to this next talent that's coming in, because they have more talent coming in next year than they've had in quite a while.
And then on the other side, they win, maybe they go on a roll, they beat Villanova the 3-1, you got some momentum. I think they're better than Indiana. I know Indiana just set personal records, but they
Against a team that hasn't won a game in 3 years.
They
Yeah.
still did it though.
Who was it they beat last?
But
Western Illinois. They haven't won a
But
game.
and then Northwestern, you can still be 5-1 going into USC.
Right.
You can still do that. They're going to be a favorite. I know tomorrow's a small favorite. It was thought to be going to be bigger, and all of them will be a little less than what was thought. But they can still do that. They can still do that. They can still get 5-1 and finish the year 7-5, which is about what everybody kind of thought anyway. You have a lot of people on the boards and stuff saying 9-10 wins. Remember the hypothetical that was posted right before game 1? Hoagie posted his annual hypothetical, and it was 8-4, and a lot of people were like, pass. I'm like, are you crazy?
That's what it is to be a fan.
You're crazy. I'm taking 8-4 every time.
Fan is short for fanatic, man. These are not rational people. Like, I get it. I mean, I'm a dreamer. Like every time you roll the ball out, you figure like, hey, this is the year, right?
Yeah.
Just got to win at least 6 so we can go somewhere cool.
Yes. Got to keep the bowl streak alive. Hey, Jeff, 2025 is mostly done. They have 3 commits in 2026 already, and they're pretty good commits. Off to a great start to rank in the top 25 right now.
Yeah.
What is next coming up? What's the next? Some more 2026 or what?
I mean, it's pretty much in a slowdown right now just because they're in season, obviously, so they're not out recruiting as much. You're not going to have as many candidates. For this 2025 class, it's filled up really early. I don't want to say filled up, it's mostly full. I think it's 20, 21 commitments now, something like that. So basically right now you're just trying to, there's no more uncommitted prospects really. I'm sure somebody will pop up late, but right now it's just all about trying to flip some of these 4-star local guys who've committed to Penn State and other schools like that, and then just save room for the portal. The portal's obviously huge now.
2 episodes ago, you said over 1.5 flips. You still there?
Yeah, I'll still go with that. I mean, I think
Jeff Exonor.
Yeah, Mike good. We'll see who. Mike Loxley flips somebody pretty much every year, so I'm figuring.
Because he does it on purpose, right? He tells the player, to commit to the other schools.
Yes, he has them write out like a long contract and like a questionnaire and just kind of.
Well, that's what South Carolina said he did.
They did.
Yeah.
And who is to question the South Carolina message board?
Well, I'll tell you this. I know somebody on
Not
the
just
staff
the
of
message
South
board.
Carolina, and he told me flat out that it was BS, and that Beamer knew it was BS.
Yeah.
Or at least knew shortly after that it was not true and kept running with it.
Wow.
But, you know.
So Jeff, the 26 class locally, how does the DMV area where Loxley's really been focusing a lot of attention and seeing a lot of games, how does that cluster look relative to maybe other years in terms of depth of quality and talent?
It is a really good class, actually. It's a good question, Wheels. There's a kid named Emmanuel Iannaccio at Georgetown Prep, offensive lineman who's a top 10 player. Jeriah Edwards at St. Francis is a top 50 player. There are several. Also in basketball, too, 2026 for some reason is really loaded locally. And with the momentum they built, and it's kind of cool now to commit to Maryland. You know, I would think as long as this season doesn't tank, that they should have a really good class next year.
Well, they need to back it up because you can't just have one in football. You get basketball, you can have one, and you can turn the team around like that because there's only 5 players. That's a beer. Lager, any kind of lager they got.
This is the best part of live shows, by the way, because people just bring us drinks.
Yeah.
This never happens in my life. My wife never brings me stuff.
Well,
like, my friends never give me stuff. I always have to do it myself.
in previous ones, we'd be doing shots.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Larry,
Well,
they don't
Larry,
have-
if Larry brought all the clutch vodka, he's been keeping it in his
forgot
house.
the clutch vodka. I can't believe I
So,
said that.
Larry, you were talking about how easy it is now. Like in basketball, you can flip a roster.
Exactly.
And I think you were headed towards that conversation for football.
Right.
We're going to get a test of that this season. We saw part of it with Michigan State. They had 50-something transfers coming in and out with a new coach. We're going to see it again at Indiana. New coach at Indiana brings in essentially almost like what was left of
A
the
lot of
James Madison
his
team.
team, yeah.
So we're gonna see kind of a live test of that
Thank you.
in the season as to whether or not teams really can flip.
I've
I've seen Dion trying it out at Colorado.
Florida State is
doesn't
failing
look-
at it this
and
year.
it looks like it's not working in Colorado. Florida State's not looking so good. But we're gonna see in conference. Right now, Michigan State maybe looks a little better than people thought. And maybe it's just because Jonathan Smith is really a good coach. But the other piece now we'll see in Indiana. How does that reconstructed program look in year one? So we'll see.
Right, but the 2025, and they're also a top 25 start in 2026. You do even just 2 classes back-to-back top 25. That's really big. You're talking about a lot of talent coming into a program that hasn't had that kind of talent since the Ralph days.
Yeah, but you got to keep the kids, right? I mean, that's the problem with the portal era. If you're bringing in these great classes by Maryland's, stature, right? You got to keep them around. So you can't have a situation where every year you're losing your top player. You lose a Chop Robinson, you lose, Jay-Sean Barham to the portal. That's just the reality of college football and college athletics these days, which sucks. But for me, if you're looking at classes and things that can matter down the line, they brought in 11 offensive linemen in the past 2 years, right? You need some of those guys to hit. And if you can have some of those guys to hit and then pepper in the portal here and there, that feels like the winning formula. I don't know that these guys bringing in all portal guys is going to work. I think it can work in college basketball. I don't think it works in college football.
Well, Florida State last year it did work for them. This year it isn't.
Well, and last year, how did they play with their quarterback and how did they play without their quarterback?
They still won other games without the quarterback.
Well, they got how that
Oh,
they both played Louisville.
They have their entire team.
Well,
right.
they played Louisville in the ACC championship game.
Yeah.
They did win that game. It wasn't pretty.
It was not pretty.
That's what hurt them.
Was that 13-7?
Yeah.
That's what hurt them.
Yeah, it's true. I said all their games. They won the. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But when you're in the ACC, it's a lot easier to do that these days. It kind of feels like a minor leagues, doesn't it?
A little shot across the bow here in Charlottesville
It's
from
the reality,
Jeff
isn't
Herman.
it? Right?
I mean, it's true. If you look at, it's just Maryland in the stage it's in now with what they have. What would they be on average? 8.5, 9 win team every year.
They beat NC State. is what I
Yeah,
think.
no, I think that's a good comparison. NC State's
Yeah.
a team that, they seem very comparable to Maryland in terms of talent-wise. Obviously, we beat that ass in that bowl game, which was fun. But, it feels like if Maryland was able to pull... Now, I don't know whether you get the benefits of being a Big Ten team in terms of recruiting and the things that you can do, with the money that you get from the Big Ten. Certainly, Maryland in the ACC was a poverty program by every stretch of the imagination. But, you would imagine they're probably a win or two better every year in the ACC than they are in the Big Ten, which is a bit of a bummer. If you're a team that if you'd rather just play a lesser schedule and try and win 8 or 9 or 10 maybe every year.
You know what's really funny? You know how when we're doing the shows on Wednesday nights, and Jeff is always going like this and texting, and we're like,
He can't
who's?
help
I can
himself.
see now. That was just. Should I say who it was? I should not say who it was.
Don't tell them that was Barack Obama.
No, it wasn't. The initials are. Should I know? Should I know?
ML.
ML. Oh, no.
Yeah, that's a joke, Larry.
Yeah, I got it.
No, on nights before games, I'm not going to text him.
He's got 3 initials and he's very famous. That's all.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
saying.
sure Mike Lochte is just sitting in his hotel room right now doing nothing, just hanging
Everybody
out.
knows who that is, right?
Watching the live streams. Yeah.
That's who just texted Jeff. So there you go. We get to see it now. I'm not supposed to say it. Are you mad at me for saying
I
that?
mean, most of the time I'm just looking at Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like shopping for furniture or something. Like,
And the first initial might be S.
it's just like, oh, Paul's talking now.
Is he watching the live stream? That's the question.
No
chance. 0 chance.
He's about to be here. Is that what he said?
That would be cool.
That would be very cool.
I hope he has something better to do. than
Speaking of which,
this.
we do have. Can I see the time again? Steve Suter's on his way.
7 o'clock. So
Well,
we might need someone to go out and flag
My
down
phone-
Steve Suter.
hey Billy, are there any texts on my phone? Can you see? Because
Where's your phone, Larry?
this place is
It's
it's
right
right
here.
here on the stand. Nobody.
I can't tell.
No?
I just see a full video screen.
You just see a video screen.
If
Okay,
I'm
we're
gonna be
good.
your man, I gotta do a prediction later. I'm just
What's your
saying.
prediction?
I'd say
Pain.
35 to
Hang
13.
hang on, hang on.
Oh, I
Come
like
on to the
that.
mic. Come here.
I like
Come on to the
that.
mic.
Ah, fantastic.
Say your name.
My name is.
Come
William-
on the mic.
Ah.
Come on the mic. Say your name and your
It's not
voice.
gonna hurt you.
He looks like he's afraid of it.
Yeah.
My dad owned a radio station way back in the day. I don't
Well,
know.
did he teach you that microphones shock you when you get close to them? Or
Yeah, you're like a foot away from it. Come up to the mic closer. You go.
I promise
There you
it's
go.
not going to hurt you.
Say your name and your board name. You're Inside Maryland.
My
Sports.
name is TerpsFan2000. This is Inside Maryland Sports.
There you go.
And my prediction is Maryland football wins 38 to 13 tomorrow. The boys get it done.
All right, we like that. We like that.
That
You
would be
didn't
fun.
do it quite right. This is Terps Fan 2000, or this is William Ginsburg, and you're listening to IMS Radio. Is how it goes.
Well,
You wanna try again?
gotta bust my balls.
You wanna try again?
Gotta bust my balls,
You
Larry.
want to try again? Go ahead.
Fine, I'll do it again. This is Turf Fan 2000, William Ginsburg, and you're listening to Inside Maryland Sports. And we are winning 38 to 13.
No, just no.
Larry,
You-
leave.
We can't have someone
Boyle.
with ADD doing this thing.
Wow.
You can't have.
Wow.
Come on, dude. Come on.
Busting my balls. After I bought you that beer. I bought Larry that beer.
You bought me
I
the beer.
bought Larry the beer.
You did?
That cost me $5.35, and Larry's
Alright.
just gonna bust my
I
balls.
will. I will pay you back.
And the fans don't even get to see my beautiful face.
Next round is on me.
Are we gonna see?
Oh, fantastic.
Are we gonna see a live fight occur on Inside Maryland Sports Radio?
It's going to slow him down tomorrow for that race against Suter.
Now we're good. Now we're good. Is Suter's here? Okay, cool. He's here. I was worried about it.
Take an intermission.
Nah, we're good. I think
Are we
Wheels.
leaving?
Yeah, Wheels is gonna have to vacate the premises for a minute when our boy Suter comes. There he is. There he is. We're streaming live, Steve. So people are watching from the phone up here. We're live right now. Just so you know. You're up here, yeah, with us.
You got to sit with us like you're important.
Do you want? First of all, before we get started, do you want a drink? Do you want a wine or beers? Okay.
Yes.
Hey,
Somebody
Billy,
buy Suter a drink.
I'll get you back. Can you just give him?
What's he want?
I would
Oh,
like
Jay.
Is it wine only?
Wine, beer? What do you
Wine,
want?
beer. Beer, wine.
Give me a Miller Lite.
No Miller Lite.
Give me a red.
He's got you. He's got something for
You
you.
got to find
Darian, the man, Steve Suter. The first time you were on the show with us,
Yeah.
your daughter was doing had a dance practice, and you were drinking margaritas.
Well, she has dance right now too, and now I'm drinking beer.
Nice. There we
like
go.
100 miles away.
There we go. You,
Cheers, I made it.
hey, so let me ask you this. You almost drove down with us, and you ended up, like, it didn't work out. You ended up
Yeah, you took the team bus like a baller.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
know.
yeah, you guys can drive down. I mean,
But I want to, what on the team bus, what's that like? Are people just in their own zone? Or is people partying or what? I don't know.
Well, I'm on the last bus, bus 6.
Okay.
So I'm not near the players.
Okay.
So yes, I was in my own zone.
Okay.
Oh, but-
All the coaches and media are on like one? Or?
They wrote, so bus 1 would be Coach Lotsy, I think the offense. Bus 2 is Brian Williams in the defense. Bus 3, maybe not the first and second team of either side of the
Oh, but towards walk-ons? Oh no, they don't even come to this, right?
They probably bring a couple, but not.
But you're on like 6. You're
He's
like
on the manager's
Yeah, I'm on the
lowest.
back bus.
I don't know what that was.
all right.
I'm way in the back. I'm not important anymore.
You're not.
Put it this way, my bus.
What's
had
that?
50
Here's Jay. Uh-oh. Or Seinfeld down. All right, look. Hey everybody, this is Jay Zutant.
Hey, Jay.
Jay-Z on the message board. This Jay-Z is the owner of this Lightwell Survey Winery, along with a Dookie and
My brother.
your brother.
A man that has no name.
Sebastian.
Is he UVA? Is he UVA? Or?
University of Charleston.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. The
I went to Frostburg. I didn't
Oh, you
even go
Frostburg.
around.
My
He went to Frostburg. He's a better
Brother.
Turk fan than most people that we know. So, yeah. You know.
Hey,
We're old school.
do you wanna go on the mic and give us on the mic right there? Give us your prediction for tomorrow, or you can just maybe say it right there. But sit. I don't think people can hear you, so go on the mic there and give us your.
We need
prediction.
the old Phrygians Legions breakdown. Like when we're like 5 hours into a tailgate, and it had a little bit of liquid courage, as it
A
were.
little saucy.
Give me the real, Jay. How's this going to go tomorrow?
Alright.
He's
I'm
got
not
me
really
right.
sure. The mic's, I don't think this
Break
mic's
down the
hot.
special teams.
It is hot. It is.
But I'm not really sure how it's going to go tomorrow because we felt like last weekend was going to go slightly different than it went. We figured we had a good defense. Who knew we had a prolific passer / quarterback in Big Billy? But my prediction for tomorrow, as is every game against the Sway and Sissies,
Yes.
Terp 62,
Yeah.
Virginia 1.
Scorigami out there.
Is a great prediction. I think
This game is taking place in Canada.
I know.
That's the only way you can get the one point.
I think they should give a point if on the kickoff the guy can kick it through the uprights. The other team still gets the ball, but you get a point for it.
I'm
That's
still
what
trying to get used to this new NFL kickoff. It looks so ridiculous.
it does look weird.
Yeah.
And they can't move until it's caught. Like, imagine what Steve
very
Suter would
I
have
was going to
done.
say, why are we talking
Yes.
about kickoff rules when we've got
Steve
this guy?
Suter, what he would have done in the new kickoff rules, he'd have had like 8 returns a year. Like,
It's
for
funny.
touchdown.
I had this conversation with a teammate of mine, and we both agreed I would have done very well in this NFL kickoff era. But they have to move it back. I get the rule change, and I'm fine with it, but you need to move the kickoff back a little bit so there's a chance for a return.
Yeah, don't take all the excitement
The
out
whole
of the
thing's
game.
gone.
Don't
So let's reiterate Steve's credentials. How many returns for touchdowns?
6 punts. Never actually got a kickoff.
School record, correct?
National NCAA.
You didn't get a
record.
kickoff on it?
No.
Really? Oh, that doesn't bother you at all, Teddy.
Correct. Till this day.
Well, so while we're here, let's talk a little bit about last week because we've got the benefit of
Do
your
we
knowledge.
have to?
Yeah, we do because you're actually good at this stuff as opposed to us just winging it.
Yeah.
So for us, I mean, clearly there are certain things that are obvious. Like obviously, when you get beat for deep touchdowns by a guy like Childs, as a redshirt freshman, not a guy you're expecting to throw for 3 bills against you.
I wasn't. Nope.
What did you see out there? Like, what's going on? It seemed to me maybe we were holding back a little bit, got caught with our pants down. Like,
I think the problem was Perry Fisher, not him specifically, but his injury and not knowing if he was going to be effective or not. It's hard to participate in practice all week with a club on your hand. You're not simulating game, and you're telling the coaches you feel okay. They're trying to plan on you being okay, and then you go out there the first drive, and you're clearly not the same player. And I said it pre-game, maybe not on air, but I was talking with Lamont Jordan before the game. I couldn't picture myself being a corner, having length like he does. It's like 6'3", 193, and an advantage he would have is putting his hands on people. You can't do that with a club. You just can't. You're just not effective. He probably wasn't in a good headspace, so he wasn't aggressive. He's probably favoring it. You can see they challenged him right away. First play of the game, they threw a pass inside, little screen play. They're like, let's see if he's even going to engage in a tackle.
Make a tackle.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he did, kinda. He surely wasn't going up there and wrapping up and a certain dominance. So right from there, they recognized that Maryland did. They took him out. But the guys behind him are just young. It's true freshmen. And I don't know, I don't want to say they weren't prepared because that would be foolish of me to say a coach wasn't prepared for that situation. But I think maybe it was a situation where Brian Williams has a philosophy, this is how we play defense, regardless of who comes in. And then maybe it kind of got away from them where they should have been preparing maybe for a different situation. And look, Kevin Nunes is young, true freshman. I couldn't even fathom starting as a true freshman against like all ACC.
But how fast can you get those guys coached up? Because he's not the only freshman. It's really
Yeah, there was
young.
a couple of them, right? So every option was a young option.
Ray
So
Lee,
there really was nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So do you change your philosophy and say, okay, maybe I can't just say it's plug and play, like we want to say next man up. Every coach wants to say next man up. Well, sometimes it ain't next man up.
Especially if the next man is 18 years old.
Right, young buck.
And not even early entries, some of these guys. They walked in a month ago.
Like I was part of it once, firsthand. My best friend Dominic Foxworth thrown in as a freshman against Clemson, and we got a win to go to the Orange Bowl, and it's one of the best games I've ever been a part of. Watching it, he rose to the challenge, but he's an NFL guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's awesome, and you found out he was awesome. You found out he was awesome fast. Woody Dancer and those guys attacked him, and he stood up to the challenge every time.
But that's the exception to the rule.
Right, so he's an exception. So if you don't have an NFL guy, and I'm not saying Kevin Nunes and the other young guys aren't NFL guys, they could be. You can grow into that. But I mentioned it on air. It's baptism by fire right now. You're going to find out because Michigan State's not dumb. They know you're a true freshman too. They found out quick. Oh, let's try Perry Fisher fast. Okay, wait a second. They pulled him. Something's going on. Let's try the next guy, and let's keep trying that guy. Let's keep trying that. And it just got away from him. The secondary, he couldn't get pressure up front to help the secondary, and then the secondary just couldn't hold up to the one-on-one coverage that they kept calling.
Are you surprised the front seven hasn't been more
Yes.
impact? I thought those guys were really loaded with talent.
Yeah, so it's a weird vibe for me on that because I wasn't as high on the D line coming into the season as everybody was saying, so then I didn't want to be the pessimist.
I feel you on that one.
Right, I was like, am I the only guy that doesn't see the disruption that everybody's anticipating? So I jumped on it too. Like, I don't want to be that guy. Yeah, all right, let's go, man. The D line's the best it's ever been. Like, it's the deepest it's ever been. And I just haven't seen it through 2 games. So I don't want to say I'm smarter than everybody else, but
See, I was just hoping they were playing read react and
and they could be
potential run quarterback.
And they could be. I mean, they probably don't get the benefit of the doubt because they're usually 3 linemen in the scheme, if you want to say, right? Quayshawn Fuller, Jordan Phillips, and then they rotate on the other side too. And maybe more of their obligation is to keep blocks up versus cause the disruption. But D linemen got to get penetration. I don't care how many they are.
What about the offensive line? Like the pass blocking seems way better than the run blocking.
I would agree, but disappointing in the run game. You can't average 2.5, 3 yards a carry. They only had 86 yards last week. That's not going to win in the Big Ten.
Everybody's really excited after week 1. Because Hemi did well, but then also you had Ray, and he broke the big one. And it's like, oh man, they got a rushing attack.
Correct.
And then
Yeah, and surprisingly, because the way Coach Lockley talked about the UConn game and how their defensive front was doing so many stunts, and it was very tricky, and he called it 50-50 run game, where we're going to pop them because they're going to stunt themselves out of the run, and then they're going to also bust us up because they're going to stunt into it. It's just going to be a coincidence. So the way he talked about how well they handled that, to the film that I watched at Michigan State, they were vanilla, in my opinion, defensively. And if you're not doing anything, then it's just man on man. They got a 4-man front. You know where the guys are going to be. I thought it should have been way easier to run the
Hey,
ball.
Steve, would you have gone for it on the fourth
I was
and
about to
one?
ask the same question.
Man, that's a tough
Dude,
one. That's
he's
a
not
tough
gonna
one.
answer.
So I'll say this. I would have to have watched Jack Howell's off season and all into camp. And if I'm watching this guy stroke 40-yarders all day, every day in practice, then I'm kicking it because game's over. He kicks it, you go up 10, 4 minutes, they're not scoring twice on us. Now, granted, they scored the first play right after, but it would have been a different philosophy.
Right,
Their
right.
mentality would have been different. They would have thought the game was over too. Their players would have.
But he's always got the distance for the most part.
Yeah, so I probably would have kicked it. I want to put faith in the guy too. He's a good kicker in my opinion. I mean, he's a good college kicker.
And the running game was not getting it done either.
Yeah. Right,
Well,
that too, yeah.
How many times have we watched Maryland line up when they need a yard and just can't get it? I mean, that haunts me.
100%. Agreed.
So it just felt like that decision to me was one of those like, well, if he hits the field goal, Loxley's a genius.
Yeah.
If he goes for it, they get it, he's a genius.
Yeah.
If they don't get either one of those, he's an idiot. Like there's no
Correct. And so you got to think of what else is he thinking? What else is going on his mind? And part of it probably was my young secondary isn't going to hold up here. I need to go up 2 scores.
Yeah.
If we go and don't get it, game's probably over in the wrong direction. Yeah, that's what he's probably thinking. We're not going to get a stop. Defensively, we haven't had any penetration, and my secondary is a sieve. So I need to go up 2 scores and hope the time makes me win this game.
And aside from the offensive line not really blocking well, they don't have a power back. And they didn't really in the past few years. They had a guy who looked like a power back, but seemed to fail in those short yardage situations.
Yeah, but see, I would disagree with that because I think Henry's a power back.
Yeah.
That guy runs hard and he's always falling forward and guys are bouncing off him.
Yeah.
So maybe his what makes him not a power back in a short yardage situation for what you would think it is maybe his vision right off the line of scrimmage.
Catch that
His hands
angle
good.
and get
The
back.
first like that initial wave of blinking, what's gonna happen? Let me see what's happening in my reaction. Maybe that good, so he doesn't get that head of steam to where he can just fall forward for 1 yard every time.
Well, you know who I think's a power back is Billy Edwards, and it
Yeah.
still mystifies me a little bit that we're not running him as much. And now it could be on him. He might not be keeping the ball on these RPOs as much as big or these read options as much as he should be. But that's not his mentality. I mean, he's a killer. Like if he feels like he's got it, he's going to go and he's going to take that linebacker on and not think twice about it. It still bothers me a little bit. We haven't really utilized him in the running game as much.
I would agree with you to an extent if I was talking to you last year about it because I think he was way more run-oriented building. And if it was 50-50, he's deep. I think he's evolved as a QB based on his first 2 games. Very poised in the pocket. I love his decision making. He's only made 2 bad decisions so far, 2 games. Both of them have been Michigan State. One cost him. Well, I wouldn't say it wasn't even a bad decision to throw that slanted type ball, just a bad ball. Overthrows and just picked by Caden Frazier. But he made 1 bad decision. During that game, he should have got picked. He threw a deep crossing route late and should have got picked by the Michigan State corner and did it. Until then, so 2 games, that's the only flaw. Now, some RPOs, I'm not dialed in on whether or not he should have pulled it or kept it. Because things happen fast too for me as I'm watching the game. Usually I can find out if he made the right decision or not after the series is over or maybe after the play is over, and then I watch the interaction with him coming off the sidelines. And if Coach Lockheed's coming right over after maybe a negative play, it's probably, hey, you didn't read that 3 technique, you should have kept it, or read the 9, you should have kept it, or you should have gave it, that kind of thing.
Steve, people are talking about Billy's progression and the kind of quarterback he's becoming. We're seeing a lot of people making comparisons to Sean Hill.
100%.
You agree?
I 100% agree with that.
He's
Very similar. So the thing about Sean Hill, when I was playing on his team, now granted this is my first vision of a college quarterback, right? So I walk into Calvin McCall and Sean Hill. I don't know what an NFL quarterback looks right? I'm from Carroll County. We ran the ball every play.
Yeah.
Nobody threw the ball. I've only watched it on TV in college. And then,
But you touch the ball like 60 times a game.
yeah, it seemed like it, yeah. So I don't know what I'm looking at. All I know is Sean Hill beats out Calvin, and we're going into week 1 with Sean Hill being our quarterback, and you just didn't understand what you were watching. And I guess it was because it was never wowing anybody, and not even in practice, he wouldn't wow us. In the game, he wasn't wowing us. It wasn't, we wouldn't leave a practice, and then I would go back in the locker room and be like, hey, Julian, man, that ball Sean threw me, like in period 22, that was crazy. Like, you just didn't say it. But what you didn't realize what was happening, which is, now you notice is very hard to do. Every ball was getting thrown to the right person. And that is way more valuable than the, hey, did you see that ball he threw me on period 22?
Winning on the margins, basically.
Yeah, 100%. So now you're going through a schedule, you're going through the games, and Sean's making all the right decisions, all the right calls. So the coaches love him because he's putting the team in the best position to win. He's not turning the ball over. And he's big. And he's 225, 235.
Yeah.
And he can run somebody over 1 and 2. And he was a tough, I want to say he was a tough Kansas boy.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I'm sure he's not going to care about this now, but you know, he's pounding beers at Bentley's, and then he's going out.
He'll never see it.
Right. And then he's dominating like this good old Kansas boy would do.
I refuse to believe that members of the Maryland football team are pounding beers.
Well,
at
he was
Bentley's.
older. It was legal. Well, not night before the game, but
The best part of that story is you're like, hey, Julian. And it's like, dude, this fucking awesome. That was the heyday, the golden.
Good dude.
Hey,
He had good timing, man.
And he caught the pass, right? Like, it's just cool that you're throwing out the names.
Julian Gary was my guy. He took me under his wing when I got there. He was the senior, looking out for me as a young guy and showing me the ropes. And it wasn't all those. You know, he did me a good service of checking my enthusiasm and energy as like one of those young dumb freshmen running around doing anything I can do, going 100 miles an hour, and you think that's what you should be doing, but Julian was savvy. He just was experiencing. Pulled me over to the side one time. I think we were in a weight room and I'm like trying to squat 800 pounds and was like killing myself. And he's like, what you're doing, and I'll never forget it. He was talking to me about what I'm doing in the weight room matters, but and he pointed out to the field, he said, well, what you do out there matters more. So maybe he could tell my focus was more trying to impress people in the weight room, where that's good, but understand you can do anything you want to hear. You're not doing it out there.
That's OG wisdom.
That's OG wisdom.
Well, it's a good thing because it always reminds me when you talk about these recruiting rankings and things like that. So much of that's built in your physique, your numbers, your combine stuff, right? I love guys like you, guys like Antoine Brooks, guys who maybe a couple inches too short for this or that or whatever, but like they just make plays on the field. It felt like that was like the epitome of the Maryland football player. Like, we're not going to get these automatic pros after 3 years, but we're going to get guys who know how to play football. Will Likely, guys like that.
You said Will Likely. I just saw him in the elevator before I came over here.
Oh, you should have bring them, man.
Well, he's like part of the staff.
He can't leave. He can't leave the game night before he's fine.
And you know what? I tried to land a joke on him real quick. So I'm already in the elevator. Him and all the guys walk in, and he sees me in the corner. I'm like, in my phone or something, and he's like, Suter. And I see him. I'm like, I said, oh, what's up, second best?
Hey, how many punts did he have to the house? 4?
I think he's 4.
Yeah.
And he didn't laugh like I thought he was going to laugh. I don't know.
Did you see the?
It was only funny to you.
You see the series I did with Ralph over the summer when we had the all-time team?
Yeah.
You were number 1 and Will was number 2.
Number 1. No, I didn't say second best.
Yes.
Now, shout out to Will. It's his birthday today. He just said it's his birthday. He's turning 30. So I'm gonna
30.
I'm gonna hang out with him after
God,
this.
that's
I know,
impressive.
young buck.
He's
But he
getting
was
old
awesome,
enough.
man. He was a great player for Maryland.
Yes.
I love watching him too.
30, man. He's getting old enough. He's gonna start getting real hangovers.
Yeah.
Y'all don't understand
I'm
what's
gonna put that to the test tonight.
That's right.
Jay's getting us another round, by the way. I just asked him to bring us.
You know
another.
the best and the worst part of an 8 o'clock game? I don't have to worry about waking up.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can go hard tonight.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then you got to sit around and wait.
It's a late night. It's a late night tomorrow. though.
6
Hey,
a.m. team
are you
breakfast.
gonna come to the tailgate? Are you gonna come to the university sponsored
I
tailgate?
probably won't do that. What time would that be?
4? What time is it? 4:30.
Yeah, no, I'm going to take the team bus over. They won't leave 4 hours before the game.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're gonna be hanging out after the game too. You want to do that one?
So we're going to kidnap Steve Suter tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought of while you were talking about the guys you played with. Who was the biggest athletic freak that you played with at Maryland?
Ooh, that's a good question, man. There's a couple ways I can go with that. I'm honest.
I know.
So,
I know who you're gonna say.
okay, I'll go Vernon Davis.
Yes, it's exactly who I was gonna.
I figured that out.
So, I got a good story about Vernon.
Well, Vernon's obvious.
So Vernon's is obvious one. Because if I had to like grade you in all these athletic elements, he may not be 1 in all of them, but he's like 2 or 3 in all of them. So he's gonna grade out the highest. He's a high school senior. It's spring practice, I believe, and I'm not practicing. I got a rehab and a torn meniscus, which I did 5 times. And so I think it might have been Coach Franklin said, "Hey, Vernon's coming out to practice. Why don't you walk around with him and just talk shit and hopefully he enjoys practice." So this fool comes in, and obviously they give me a little pep talk about his recruiting and how good he is, that sort of thing. He shows up to practice, I'm walking and talking the whole time, looking up, and I'm like, God damn, this guy's big as shit. And so we were walking, and somewhere throughout the practice, he was dead serious, and he looked at me and he's like, "Steve, who's the fastest on the team?" I said, "Oh, me, actually." He said, "All right, well, I'm coming in to beat you." I was like, "Nah, it's just not gonna happen. You're too big. I don't care about all these stars. You're just not gonna beat me in a race." Now, we got close. He never beat me. We got close.
How many pounds did he have?
Yeah, he got 30 pounds on him. And 5 inches on him.
So before you got here, we were speculating if you and I did a race, how much head start, like in a 100-yard dash, would I need in order to beat you?
Halfway.
So 50, right?
All right. This is a tricky question to answer because
I have no meniscus.
Or hamstrings.
In your head,
I
how about with
might have to pull my phone out and put it up to this camera. The reason I wouldn't be as confident in this race prior is, so let's dial back to June 24th of this past summer. I'm in Atlantic City for my daughter's national championship dance competition.
Okay.
I got a dance dad who, ironically, we ended up playing. We were on the same high school all-star team together. Shout out to Antoine.
Big 33?
You're slow. It was actually the Baltimore Metro All-Star, City Metro All-Star game. And so for 8 years, we've been talking shit at the Mexican bar of who's faster or who was faster.
As you're waiting for your daughters to...
Exactly, right. What else are you guys going to do? Shoot the breeze, after a couple margaritas.
Get your album.
Yeah, so this has been like 8 years in the making. Okay, and I'll run my mouth, he runs his mouth. It's never gonna happen, so let's just keep talking.
Yeah.
Well, we're in Atlantic City. It's 3:30 in the morning. We're outside we're in the casino. We've been having a good time. It spills into outside the casino. Next thing I know, we're in the parking lot.
You're racing.
Of the lobby of the casino, the valet section, and he's running. He's racing some females. I had nothing to do with it. When I watched the race, he didn't impress me.
And you're like, I can take him.
I
can take him.
Then I started running my mouth. Next thing I know, we're lining up, bare feet in the parking lot, like bricks. It's like, nothing about this is a good idea. Let's call it a 30-yard race. And in my head, I haven't ran without the governor being on for 20 years because I just know bad things can happen if I take the governor off. But knowing what was at stake, the next 8 years of my dance Tuesday through Thursday, my life was
That's a lot of ego.
My life was on the line here, guys. So in my head, I said, governor's off. I'm inebriated, so a little. I got no conscience. All right, anyway, we both take off, and I'm as fast as I ever can go at this moment in my life.
Yeah.
And I probably get to 28 yards. At 27 yards, he pulls up. I'm beating him, by the way. He pulls up Hammy, and at 27, mine pops. And I think it's all over. Worst pull I've ever had. We'll call it a tear. I tore it. I think I'm about to go skid high, like face first into the parking lot because I can't stop. Anyway, I ended up not falling down.
You just do the one hop thing.
Who won it? So I win the race, but there were no winners.
Yeah.
There were no winners.
Definitely a couple of losers.
I'll show you guys the picture. I have a picture of my hamstring. It's as red as his shirt 3 days later. Just the blood, it's torn. The whole back of my hamstring is bruised, like a football size.
How difficult is that? It's difficult for me, even as just a weekend warrior, to stop playing basketball. That's got to be tough for a guy getting at your level.
I did that.
Put the governor on for 20
Yeah, I
years.
did that for a while. I was in the Howard County Run and Shoot. It was the best league for me ever. It was 2-hand touch, or it was like 1-hand touch. It wasn't like flags. You have to worry about that.
It's like 7-on-7 kind of stuff.
7-on-7, but it was like, I want to say it was 5-on-4. Yeah, so it was 5 defense, 4 receivers, 1 QB. Basically, it's 5-on-4. QB can't run, 1 rusher. It was really routes on air. I'm running around. I got the Barbarians. Shout out to the Barbarians. These are a bunch of what I would say at the time some old heads. I just walked out. I was playing in this Oregon, what's in Hunt Valley? Oregon Ridge League with some high school buddies of mine, but it was 40 minutes from my house, and I hated the league. It was like 10-on-10. It's crowded. Everybody's out there.
People taking it
I did
seriously.
not know
I'm going to rip this
10-on-10
American
football.
I'm not in this anymore for this. I just want to run some routes and catch some footballs. I'm working at the time. I got a coworker that says, "Oh yeah, you're playing at Oregon Ridge." I got a buddy who's been playing at the Run and Shoot in Howard County for the last 20 years. I'm like, "That's 10 minutes from my house." So can you ask if they need a guy? This would be much more conducive. And I know what I was doing, so I walk out there. The first game, the quarterback is warming up. He's 52. He's throwing to the linebackers 55, and I'm like, I don't know if this is right. But I'm watching the guy who's 52, the quarterback, Mike Stoner. Shout out to Mike. He's spinning the ball pretty good. I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. This man throws me the ball every play, the whole game. I have like 350 yards, 5 touchdowns. It was like the most fun I've ever had on a Sunday afternoon. And after the game, he's like, "You coming back?" I was like, "Coming back?" He threw me the ball every play. No, he ain't coming back. And nobody touched me. It was like I was just out there playing by myself. So I played with them for a good 8 years. Had a blast. They're all really good buddies of mine now. Now we've all retired from that, and it's turned into like a poker Saturday night. And I can even pull a hamstring playing poker. So that's.
I love that there's like slow pitch softball for football players. Still. Like that's
exactly. I had
Flag football.
I even bring Foxford out there a couple of times and say, "Come on, Fox, after you retire, let's just go out there and run around." I mean, it's unfair for him being out there.
He's too busy running the media.
Yeah, oh yeah, now he's way too busy now. But
He's going to be running for president before too long.
yeah, he's the man. Shout out Fox.
So,
Got all these teammates doing so many good things. It's great to see.
so before you got here, we were talking about tomorrow, and I kind of feel like it's like almost, this is hyperbole, but still season over if you lose, almost. Because the rest of the schedule's tough. Like this feels like an enormous game for loss.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this Michigan State loss last week has lingered with me longer than I think any of the other ones have. I've been pretty good at, I guess, using Coach Locke to flush. I've been pretty good at flushing them. I don't try to get too emotionally wrapped up because if I take the governor off of my emotions of it, it'll be bad news too because I'm Maryland. Like I'm through Maryland. So I try to just, also because I'm doing the broadcast, I don't want all of those emotions reflecting my broadcast either, even though I think most of the time it's good, right? I'm a homer, I don't want Maryland people listening to the broadcast not thinking I'm rooting for Maryland or I don't care. Because that's the wrong vibe.
You're not trying to be Walter Cronkite.
Right. But I also don't want to be like yelling the street on the air.
Yeah.
What a bad call. And
like we do.
Right,
Those guys are the worst.
So I try to stay partial. So in doing that, I try to stay emotionally level throughout the week. But the Michigan State ones hung with me longer than the other ones. And I think it's because I thought we were going to beat them by 20. I watched the tape. I was not impressed. And everybody does. You want to think early on, regardless if it's college or NFL, that the team you root for is going to have a good season. So taking a loss like that so early hurts. And then if you come down here and you go 1-2, I agree with you. you don't want to say a season over, but it's going to be hard to resurrect the positive emotion.
You got to pull off, and at that point, you have to win one, the kind of one that they haven't been winning.
Correct. And these guys scare me down here. They do. They scared me last year watching the game. I wasn't scared of them before the game started, but during the game, I was
Well,
like,
they got up 14-0 in it.
yeah, well, we're, aside from that, yes. But then throughout the game, even as Maryland was starting to pull away and dominate, the offense scares me for Virginia.
Because the quarterback is a
Yeah.
wild card. Like,
I like
he's going to
it.
make amazing plays, and then, but also
I like it.
there's going to be some bad plays
Yeah,
too. Hopefully,
right. And so that's what I thought we were going to get last year, and we did. We got 3 picks. I knew that guy was
3
inaccurate.
picks, 3 touchdowns, right?
I knew he was going to throw some picks, or at least give our guys some chances. You hope this guy will do the same. Calandria, but I like him. He's scrappy. I liked him at the end of last year. And Malachi Fields, the receivers, stud.
Yeah.
Like, he's a big boy. And if we have, like, I'm not going to keep singling out anybody in the secondary, but we got young guys that aren't very big. I mean, this guy could post up. Fields could easily have 10 grabs tomorrow.
They could have afforded, they could have afforded to get a few more corners in the portal, I feel like.
Maybe one more.
In hindsight, maybe, yeah, but maybe they thought Perry Fisher was that dude, and maybe he still is, but with a broken hand, or I don't know what he has.
Still young.
I think he was that. That's the thing. I would want Fisher on that guy all game if he was healthy, because of his size.
Agreed.
But Husky's like 5'10", with lifts on, and still getting used to Big Ten speed. I mean, he was the one who got ran by for that touchdown in the fourth quarter last week.
That was he guessed. He guessed on that one. He squatted at like 12 yards. So
it almost looked like he passed him off. I mean, it was right in front of us, and I'm like, what is he doing?
I think it was 100% route guessing or concept guessing. He might have saw number 2. You count in, right? The sideline guy is number 1, the next guy is number 2. Next time he might have saw number 2 do something where he thought he knew the route scheme and jumped. And that's what it looked like to me. He thought he was jumping around on number 1, and then whoop, the guy goes right by him. And then if you're sitting flat-footed and the guy's going straight, you're not getting out of that.
You're done.
Yeah, you're done.
So what did you see on film for UVA this week that concerns you? Like, 'cause I know you.
It's Calandria Fields, and it's
defensively they don't seem to.
Trell Harris, number 11, and the other receiver.
Yeah.
He's more of a smaller, shiftier, quick guy, but he can also make plays. He made a couple plays in the Wake Forest game. It has to be what scares you, because you just put it on tape. You just put it on tape for Michigan State that you have a hard time covering the pass.
Yeah.
And these guys can run by.
It doesn't take a genius to figure out what to do.
They're going to take shots.
Yeah.
And so the best thing and worst thing that could have happened, maybe, if I'm thinking optimistically to our secondaries, is that you did just get torched. And these young guys did just get baptized. And all week, all they've been thinking about is, I'm not getting beat deep. And so hopefully on Saturday, that's in their mindset of, and I don't know what Brian Williams' philosophy is when we talk to these guys, saying, hey, make these guys go 10 plays on us. Don't make them go 2. Like, don't get beat deep, and let's see if they can string together successful play after successful play. Because if you have a quarterback that you say could be somewhat inconsistent, then let's see if you can string 8 plays together.
Right. Count on him to make that mistake at some point.
Yeah, and then hope you get that mistake, or you bend but don't break. You just give up field goals, and you're scoring touchdowns on their defense, and you're winning the game that way. So that's how.
What was your record against UVA? Like undefeated, right?
No. I know we lost when we went down there to claim the ACC championship.
Ooh.
And we got smacked up like 44-4. We go down first drive of the game. We march it down the field. Chris Downs, I think it takes like a screen 20 in to punch it in. We're gonna beat the shit out of these guys. And then it was 44-14.
Oh no.
Those Algro teams were annoying.
Yeah.
Man.
No, that wasn't Algro, was it?
I don't know if it was Algro.
Who was the? Oh, maybe it was. Yeah, it was.
Ahmad Brooks.
Who was the guy before Algro that was very good?
George
O'Leary. No, that was
George
Tech.
Tom O'Brien?
No, it was George Walsh. George Welsh.
They all suck.
Yeah, well. Virginia beat
UVA, man. I don't like you. I don't like them, man.
Hey,
I like highbrow.
I'm fighting words.
I'm not sure if anybody.
First or
Nobody
second
does.
year.
Yeah. Come on, man.
They don't even like themselves.
That's true.
Or they shouldn't at least.
Oh, actually, they like themselves too much.
Yeah, they're probably. I mean, if I had to rank them, WVU's 1 for me, and it's probably UVA 2 for my.
What about the Big Ten?
In the Big Ten, yeah, I don't know if I've developed.
They don't have a
sorry.
rivalry.
It's obviously Penn State, but
Yeah.
I mean, we're
We're
not
still getting there, right?
We're not
Like it's
their
not
rival
like
yet.
You got to win more to be a rival.
So emotionally, it's an easy Penn State pull. Nobody's like pissed me off yet to where I'm like, all right, we got to beat this guy.
It does feel like basketball. We've had more Big Ten teams that are really fucking annoying in a way that the football teams.
Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana's they're Indiana.
I mean, the thing for me for West Virginia was easy. Scott McBrien shows up. He's our quarterback. We go down there first game. Me being naive, I guess, I just couldn't believe what I was hearing the fans say to him.
Like they are
For their walk-on punter who decided to
so
transfer.
far over the line of disrespectful and
I remember being in the stands at a West Virginia Maryland game, and you were Moses Foku,
Yeah.
and the whole time there was this insane rural kind of woman just yelling, "Fuck you, Foku!" like every 30 seconds.
They're just bad. Yeah, they were bad. Man.
They should get Ryan, I guess.
I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I will do everything in my power to beat this team every time from now on for this interaction with fans we're dealing with.
I'll tell you. So I went to DeMatha with Scott, and my favorite two memories in RE Maryland football and West Virginia are one, the greatest play action of all time when Scott ran out literally by himself while the whole stadium's watching everybody else going this way, and he's just standing in the corner of the end zone like, yeah, I'm over here.
Yeah, was that
was at that game. That was
or Tennessee?
no, that was the one in West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
That was in Morgantown
okay,
too. I think.
Okay.
I think
You
that was
did it a
the
couple
year.
times. That's
Yeah,
why
I know.
He
He
did
did
two against them, right?
I think he had a 30-yarder at NC State doing that.
Yeah, he had a big long one a couple times.
So
And then
that home game.
And then my other one was the bowl game in Jacksonville, where I saw we were downstairs, we were down at the landing or something, I think, after the game, and I saw one Steve Suter sitting by himself with like 2 Subway footlongs on a bench, being like, just with a look on his face, just like, I'm tired. And everybody's like, oh, we should go say hi. I'm like, leave that fucking man alone. That man ran for like 300 yards today.
The question is,
Let
did
him have
you
his
eat
damn
both of
footlong.
them? You ate 2 footlongs in one sitting?
No way. Well, maybe. I don't know. That's a long time ago.
It was 20 years ago.
It was a good interaction.
I've had a few drinks that day, so it might have been like.
I told you guys the underwear signing. Did I do that?
Yeah, I think you did.
I did do that one.
But tell it again.
Yeah.
Dude, that was like a
Again?
year ago, yeah. So just tell
All
it.
right, it was after you jog my memory because it was after the Peach Bowl. We're back in the hotel, and I'm hanging with my girlfriend at the time, now wife. My mom's there, my dad's there, right? The family's there, and we're just in the lobby kicking it, having a good time. And this woman and her husband, I think it was her husband, walk up to me, and she pulls out a thong with my number and name stitched in it, not like written on a marker,
Custom
like
made.
sewing machine, like legit embroidered stuff. Asked me if I could sign it, and I was like a little embarrassed just because my mom's right there and my girl. So I started with my mom, and I looked at her. I said, "Are you okay with this?" And my mom was like having a great time, like her son just so she's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I looked at my girl. I was like, "Are you okay with this?" She was like, "Yeah." So then I looked at her husband. I was like, "Are you okay with this?" He was all about it too.
The odds of going 3 for 3 there are pretty slim.
That's tough.
So I signed it, right? Let's fast forward 10 years later. I'm getting ready to play golf at this golf course, and I'm paying my greens fee, and the guy looks at my credit card who's behind the desk. Suter, you played in Maryland, right? I was like, yeah. You signed my friend's underwear. I was like, get the hell out of here. How is that going to happen? So that's my best signing story.
How often do you have that stuff where somebody randomly comes up to you and is like, dude, you signed my kid's jersey 15 years ago, and now he's a 4-star recruit somewhere.
Not that this is probably embarrassing too for me to say, but last week Michigan State, I'm getting ready to head in and do the broadcast, and I see a guy tailgating rocking my jersey, like the old school 34, and I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah,
that's
Right? And it was probably more for me than it was for him. I was just like, that thing's fading out. It used to, right off of me graduating, there was still a lot of them out there, and then every year there's less.
Nike ones, right?
There's less. Well, I had the first Under Armour one.
Okay.
So I was like, I gotta say hi to this guy. So whenever I said hi, great, take the picture. But I haven't seen one, I don't think, in a couple years. So
When you put on that jersey that day, there is no way he anticipated you.
I know. He was shocked. As I'm walking away, I hear his wife say, man, that was awesome. It made me feel really good, right? I was like, look, you're putting a bigger smile on my face than I think I am putting it on yours. So that was cool.
You follow the basketball team at all?
Not as much. I do-ish. I'll say I do-ish.
What
I learned, or what has stuck with me since being recruited, going and playing at a high level in the college, and then watching other recruits come in while I was there and hear all the hype and everything about them, I don't pay attention to it because a lot of it isn't accurate. So I don't get washed up or caught up in the message boards of the recruiting hype of this guy and that guy and everything. And I get it.
What's wrong with message boards?
I'm not saying anything wrong with it. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it.
You're
I
those
just
losers that run message boards anyway.
I just don't get caught up because firsthand I saw 4 stars and the best tight end in Maryland come in and not even play, and the best linebacker ever and not come in and play, and then guys that weren't recruited highly.
Were you a 2-star?
I was 3. Come on, man, give me that third one.
What was were you like an
7, I think.
87?
Somehow that, I don't know why I remember that.
Nice.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
I would have
right.
right. Yeah, I was a 3-star.
There you go. There you go.
Limited options.
Probably the best recruit ever out of Carroll County.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's a low bar.
That's a low bar.
Would
I
you
think
say
we had some good
it's
guys
the best
go places
football
that
player
night.
in that, Paul? The highest rated football player? Is that what you said?
I mean, I would.
No, they had to have some good guys somewhere.
No.
That's
That's
what
what
they
they meant on the show.
Put somebody out on that. Like I said, I don't pay attention too much to the recruiting part.
So wait, you were a Vandy recruit, right?
Correct.
So, and did you redshirt that first year?
Yes.
So, and then you started playing as a freshman around.
So, well, I was eligible to play, but I don't know if this camera can see this, but that finger isn't straight. I was in practice one time, my redshirt freshman year, catching punts. It was a knuckleballer by Derek Miller, our backup punter. He had this like specialty to kick knuckleballs. This thing lands right on the top of my finger. Just my knuckle just explodes. We're in practice, coach. This is a funny story. Coach Ray Waslewski's. Well, so first of all, it hits me. My finger explodes. I'm crunched down. I'm like, I think I jammed it. Balls rolling around on the ground, and Coach Ray Waslewski, who's the special teams coach at the time, is yelling at me, "Suter, get the ball!" And I'm yelling back, "I broke my finger!" And then I look at it, and I know it's bad. It's wrangled up. So the trainer comes over, the doctor. I ended up having to go to a hand specialist. I got a plate and 6 pins going across. I had to put it back together. I was close to losing it, I think.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was about to pass out on the field. I get the surgery the other the 2 nights after. All they had was Tylenol 3 sending me home with. Didn't touch the pain. This is the worst pain I've ever felt. Was the night after the surgery of this.
No
I was like,
Percocets?
where is the oxy?
Yeah.
They're like, sorry, we're out. We're gonna send you with these Tylenol 3s.
You got morphine? Like, what do you got? Like,
I'm begging. I was like begging Foxworth because he was my roommate. I was like begging. I was like, please choke me out. Like, I can't sleep.
Can I shoot it with cortisone? Like, what?
I was like, put me in a headlock, put me to sleep. And I was like sitting I couldn't wait till 7 a.m. the next morning. I'm like calling the trainers.
Like, somebody please do something.
Give me some drugs. You have to have them like sitting on the outside of my stoop in the dorm room, like, please, come on, please.
Give me some drugs.
Yeah.
No one's ever more excited for team breakfast than you.
I was popping those oxys like
Training
Skittles.
We're running out of time here, Steve.
Okay.
So I don't know. Are you allowed to make a prediction on the game or anything like that?
I don't see why I can't.
Okay. What do you think?
I don't know what it would be.
Again, we don't think it's Walter Cronkite here. Like,
Yeah,
man's got
what do you
an
think?
opinion.
What's
I
your-
think we're going to see, I'll say this. I think we're going to see a very similar game that we saw last week.
Okay.
I think our defense is going to give up some touchdowns, and I think our offense is going to score some. And maybe we find ourselves in a shootout that maybe we're more prepared for. I don't think we thought we were going to be in one. Not that 27-24 is a shootout, but was that the score the game was?
Yeah.
Something like that.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Let me double check there. but it was more scoring than I thought I was going to see, especially from Michigan State. So now I think going into it, now if you're planning ahead, hey, maybe your secondary isn't what we thought it was because of maybe some injuries and the youngness is, you know, what is youngness? Youth. Thank you. Very much.
The youths.
There's only been two.
Just
The two youths.
Two youths. Two Pilsners. That's all it took.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be very similar to what we saw last week, and then I think hoping we're on the other end of that. I mean, what is it? 2.5 point spread, so 27-24.
Less than it's been bet down for that.
Terps are still favored.
What did you, Tony? What was it?
It's not
It's down to
exactly
2.
Down to
I
2.
thought I heard someone else say 1.5. Actually,
It kind of depends on your book. I mean, it's bouncing around a little bit. I mean, the over/under is 57.5, so they're expecting to shoot
Yeah.
that.
So yeah. I didn't even know that. My prediction's right on point.
Yeah.
nice.
It's
All right,
perfect.
well,
Now you just need to be totally on point where Maryland wins.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Hey,
Maryland by 3.
Steve Suter just guaranteed a Maryland victory.
Yep, pretty much.
100%.
That's exactly what just happened.
Absolutely
Hey.
losing confidence.
We're gonna be finishing on like 10-15 minutes. We'll hang out. We're gonna get you right back and all that. And like, if you want to hang out, we'll do that too. So, but thank you very much for joining us. Hey, you think you could take a picture, Wheels? Let's do a picture. Everybody.
Everything. One of these short kings.
Hold on. All right, thanks, man.
Got it. All right. Hey, Steve, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome,
joining
man.
us.
I appreciate
We're gonna finish up with about 10, 15 more minutes.
Did I miss the 100-yard dash between you?
That's afterward. I will do it if it won't hurt his
Is that thing live right there?
Yes,
It is.
Oh yeah, and we pretty much guarantee.
Yeah.
So
2 a.m. tonight.
I'm
Parking
gonna
lot.
show him what a 42-year-old Atlantic City hamstring looks like.
I was gonna say, go do some stretches.
Keep your shoes on.
Here we go.
Let's see if we can get this camera here. Where is this?
Oh,
That's
let me see that thing.
that's how you tear a hamstring in Atlantic
Actually,
City.
I don't know if I want to see that thing.
We have props. of
Oh Jesus Christ,
dude.
I wasn't playing.
that was
Wow.
a terrible idea.
I won.
He won.
He won the race. That is what's all.
Oh yeah. I'm not running for 10 more years.
Yes, and
We still think
let's make sure we keep hooking Steve up with his drinks, whatever he wants, some food over there too.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, whatever you want is on our tap. So we got 10 minutes left. We've all done our predictions for the game. We all think it's going to be close, but we all think Maryland. We hope Maryland. In the last
You know
10
what?
minutes,
I want to augment that. I don't think it's gonna be close.
you don't.
I think Maryland's gonna swamp.
That's what Will said last night.
I'm convinced. I found my bravery and my confidence, and I think they're gonna come out and stop me.
AKA alcohol.
He's had a lot of alcohol.
Two and a half beers is all it takes.
2.5, that's it. All right, so let's quickly give all the basketball nerds what they want. You got any recruiting for us, Jeff?
Yeah, so obviously they got their first commitment.
Who was that?
About a week ago, Marcus Jackson,
There we go.
really athletic power forward, originally from Baltimore. Really good get. They've been chasing him for about a year. He's one of the best athletes in the country at the 4. He jumped 24/7 Sports updated our rankings this past week. He jumped about 48 spots, I believe, to number 65. And Christian Jeffrey, guard from Mount Zion Prep, the same school where Maryland recruited Malachi Palmer last year. He has one more visit to Penn State this weekend. I've already entered a crystal ball for Maryland. I feel like they're very likely to add him. So.
When's he going to commit?
Soon. I think it'll be pretty quickly after that visit to Penn State, which is on the 19th of this month. So I would be pretty surprised, honestly, if he's not a Terp before the end.
So they had 2 top 100 recruits after that. That's not a bad class.
Solid.
Yeah, and then are they? You were saying that Willard might like the portal more than the freshman, so he's only going to be doing 2, maybe 3. That might be it.
I think at the most they'll take one more high school recruit.
So that might be it.
I think they would still like to have Jordan Scott, small forward from Virginia, whose mother obviously was a star basketball player at Maryland, but I think he's leaning toward his mom. She's like 11. I mean, mean,
I mean,
he was the,
I was doing the Paul joke there.
I got you.
Okay, yeah.
I think she's the top, I don't know, second or third leading scorer. Either way, I feel like Michigan State is in the lead there. And so it's quite possible it's just 2 high school commits and then you wait for the portal. The portal is taking over recruiting.
Paul, anything to add? I know you're. So can I ask the question? Can I say what you're thinking? I got it. Okay, they got these 2 guys, but there were originally about 8 of them. They all went other places, and they all ended up slightly rated higher than the guys were. Like, what happened with? Why is that happening? Why is Maryland not closing on more of these guys?
Boy, I'm the wrong person to ask that question to. I'd love to ask
That's
that.
the question you were going to ask.
That is my question. I don't. I feel like it's just very interesting to me that you have these high school recruiting cycles that last 2 years, really, at this point. And when you go in so early, you've got a Caden Lewis, you've got Nick Lewis, you've got Chance Mallory, you've got Eric Reeby, you've got the kid from Gonzaga, the big kid from Gonzaga. You've got all these guys that you've scouted and you've been after and everything, and the second they start to blow up, you back off. And I just and these are not top 10 kids.
Is it that they're backing off, or is that the competition comes in so fierce that then Maryland's like, we don't have the NIL, or we don't have something, let's focus on something else.
Let's yes, I understand. That's probably what they'll tell you. What I don't understand is you're talking, Caden Lewis is a top 30 kid.
Yeah.
He blew up, but he's still a 4-star kid.
Yeah.
He's not a kid that's not attainable for Maryland, right? All the other guys are right in that 30, 50, 60 range, just like Marcus Jackson is. I don't quite understand why you would take so much time to recruit, to scout these kids, kind of lay out your recruiting board and say, these are the guys we want. And then, it's not like all these guys have fallen off. Tyler Jackson has to some degree.
Yeah.
But the rest of them are just kind of good recruits.
No, but is it maybe a value proposition where it's like, we got these diamonds in the rough, we can afford them right now with the NIL we got, with the amount of time and energy we got for recruiting and everything, and we can get these guys right now, but then when they blow up, all of a sudden the money goes up, the effort level goes up, and you're like, okay, now we have to reassess because now we have to spend X amount of dollars per the value, and maybe that has changed for us now.
Well,
right?
Okay.
Jeff's nodding.
No, Jeff's going to just turn. Let me bitch first.
Okay.
Then what are we doing anymore? What is the point of Maryland basketball if a top 50 kid is unattainable for us as a high school recruit?
Especially with Big Ten money, right?
What is the point of us? If we can't recruit that kid, what is the point of Maryland basketball right now?
It's not what anyone wants it to be. That's
what an existential question.
What is the meaning of us?
Somebody explain to me.
Crowd participation.
Look, if we're in a situation in college basketball where Maryland cannot either get enough NIL or put enough effort, or enough effort from the staff in locally, AAU, all the stuff that goes into college basketball recruiting. If we can't roll up to a kid in the top 50 in a high school class and compete, what are we doing? That's my question.
And that's not really a new thing, though. I mean, the history of Maryland basketball recruiting is when we're missing on those kids and getting them. But top 50 should, and during stretches, they have been able to get them.
It feels like the pond we should be fishing.
But this year, some of those guys are just getting offers of 5 stuff.
That's
what Caden Lewis has UConn, Duke, everybody, even though he's top 30. Eric Riley has Kansas, UConn, Kentucky, Carolina. So I think they do definitely feel like the NIL money is better spent on transfers. So they're not going to shoot their whole budget for high school kids. But I agree with you. Like if you're Maryland, but that's the forever story of Maryland, is that you should be able to keep these kids at home. Playing for Maryland should have more sizzle than sometimes it does.
Yeah, I just feel like a top 50 kid. They're not all going to Kentucky. Right, I mean,
Kentucky and Duke, basically.
Well, you're gonna see them go to comparable programs to Maryland, but they don't come here. So it just leads me to the question, like, okay, well, we backed off. Okay, if we backed off, that's fine. So what's your plan then?
The plan is to get 2 other top 100 guys, which they do.
Okay, and then what? I mean, or if we're just going to live in the portal, maybe that's the future. I mean, we're all, I guess, to be fair, we are kind of living in this changing world, right? Where we don't know how much this is all just going to become a free agency sport. It very well could end up that coaches and programs decide, you know what, it's not worth giving money to freshmen anymore. Let them go somewhere else. Let them go wherever, and we'll pick them up as juniors when they're actually good, and then we can offer them some real money.
I would say you should expect moving forward probably roughly 60% or maybe even 2/3 of the recruits each year from the portal. That would be my guess.
It's the new. Hey, just wait until there's contracts and salary caps, and then wait until they start trading players. Just wait.
Honestly, that might be better for us.
That would be awesome.
That might be great.
We'll make it easy.
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Content over here would be
We
real happy.
are at the end of our time limit. So Jeff, we're going to end it with this. Who are the next 2 players who will commit to Maryland basketball? Who are they?
Well, the first one's really easy. That's Chris Jeffrey. I think he'll be committed.
Besides him, I'm already counting him.
Oh,
2 others
geez.
besides him. Besides him.
Transfer A and transfer B, maybe.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, it could be Jordan Scott, possibly, unless Michigan State, wins out there. I don't think Cam Ward is going to be that much in play because they have Marcus Jackson.
Well, I didn't even get a chance to complain about Cam Ward either.
Yeah, they play the same position, so he's supposed to take an official. I don't know if that'll happen now. So really, I'd be surprised if there's more than one more high school kid, and there might not even be that.
Okay. All right, well, that's how we're going to end the show. We're at the end
Yes,
of
let's end the show with the more depressing subject.
My bad.
Yeah. Maryland's going to win tomorrow. Let's go. They're going to get back on track 2-1. And the basketball team is going to get a whole bunch of recruits. That's what's going to happen. So, hey, thank you guys, everyone who came live to join us. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys who are watching on the show, on the YouTube, and whoever watches later and all that stuff. So, thank you guys. Let's go Terps tomorrow.
It did look like it was streaming.
Is the audio